for this lesson. So let's get started. I mean, hopefully you can see my screen, and we'll talk about how to find the slope of this line here. So this is actually a review question from something you did last year. To find the slope, you really need to put it into y equals mx plus b form. And in other words, that means to solve for y. So you currently have 2y plus x equals -3. To solve for y, you're going to subtract x from both sides. And when you do that, you want to put the x first. So it's minus x minus 3. You're going to divide both sides by 2. And it's not a choice. You have to divide them both by 2. So it's -1/2 x minus 3/2. The slope is the number in front of x. So the slope here is -1/2. If you ever want a question like that, like the one we're doing, just let me know, and I can make one up here on the fly if you'd like. If not, we'll just move to 35. All right, so find the slope of the line passing through these 2 points. There is a slope formula. It's often mistaken for something else, but it's y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. If you get a note sheet, this would be good to go on there. This is x1 up here, -7, y1 is 14, x2 is 5, y2 is -2. So it's -2 minus y1 is 14, x2 is 5 minus x1 -7. So whenever I substitute a number and it's negative, I put it in parentheses. -16 over 12, that reduces to -4/3, which is answer A.
Okay.
36. Okay. All right, what is the equation of the line that contains this point, -12, 9, and is perpendicular, so that's key as well, to the line over here? So we need to extract the slope from this equation here. The slope here is 2/3. That's the slope of this one. Now we have to convert that to a perpendicular slope. And to do that, the steps are you flip and then you change the sign. So sometimes it's opposite reciprocal. That's -3/2. Now, do you expect the exam to be in this format? It usually is, but with the world the way it is, I don't know how that's changing. Do you know if you expect it to be in this format?
I'm not sure. She hasn't told us yet, but I
Okay.
believe it's going to be in this format.
So a good reason is like when you look at these 4 answers, notice they all have different slopes. So you don't even have to do the rest of it. You don't have to find the equation of the line. I'm going to do that though real quick. It's y minus y1 equals -3/2 x minus x1. And that's where that point comes in. They give you -12, 9. And when I put those values in, it's y minus 9 equals -3/2 x plus 12. And then if you solve for x, you need to solve for x in your next step. You get y minus 9 equals -3/2 x. And then -3/2 times 12 goes over here. So that's 12 divided by 2. That's 6 times -3 is -18. So if you add 9 to both sides, y equals -3/2 x minus 9, which is still the same answer. It's still letter A, but notice they all have different slopes. So in this particular case, that's why I asked if you think you're going to get this. What I usually tell students in your class is that you can find the answer by doing some work. Usually you can get it down to 2 answers and sometimes even 1 answer. I hope that is somewhat helpful to you. So let's move to 37. Again, just reiterate that if you need another example like any of these, just say, let's do another one.
Okay.
but we'll just keep going through this. So which equation has a slope of 1/3 and a y-intercept of -2? Well, A and C have a slope of 1/3. The slope is the number in front of x. The y-intercept, or the b, is the other number. So the other number here is 2. The other number here is -2. So that one is the one that matches.
Okay.
Okay, now let's see if we're actually going to get some geometry questions. These are all the ones we did were stuff from last year. Right, so we got find x so that P is perpendicular to Q. Okay, if these lines are parallel, and we're supposed to assume that they are to do this question, that means that, for example, this angle right here that I just marked is congruent to this angle right here. But that has nothing to do with the fact that they're parallel. Why are these congruent? Do you remember?
Um.
I'm writing it down in case.
Okay.
The vertical angles, okay? Now, if P and Q are parallel, this angle right here that I'm shading is congruent to this angle right here that I'm shading by alternate interior angles. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. That still doesn't help us because the angle I just shaded here isn't this one. But that angle right there is 8x plus 30 degrees. So there's really two possibilities in these questions. The angles are either congruent or they add up to, in this case,
180.
180, which is what's going on here. 2x minus 55 plus 8x plus 30 equals 180. Give yourself about a minute here, but I'd like you to solve this and let me know what you get for a final answer.
Okay.
How are you doing on solving this?
The answer is 20.5.
I agree. I agree. And that is there. So that's great. Let me continue here. Whoa. Are you at a certain threshold for your grade? Like, do you have to get a certain score to to move up a grade? Or are you pretty much going to stick with whatever grade you have? Do you have any idea on
Um,
that?
I'm pretty fine with my grade. I just have to get at least like a 70 to keep an A, so I'm fine.
Oh, you're killing it. Like for example, this question here, a perimeter can't be negative. So like A and B are gone. I mean, I don't even know why they're there. So there's two possibilities. And I mean, you could graph this, but what's your guess about? Do you have a guess about this? Then we can talk about why your guess might be right or wrong for which one it might be between the two. Well, let me help out. This is 3 and this is 4. So there's no way it's E because these two added together are more than E.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Your A is 3, your B is 4, and your C is unknown. 9 plus 16 equals C squared, or 25 equals C squared. So C equals 5. Maybe that's why the answer is there. But if you add these up, the parameter is 4 plus 3 plus 5, which is 12.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That's kind of the next question will kind of better illustrate why I'm asking what I'm asking, because
Mm-hmm.
there's some of the questions here you may not want to spend a lot of time trying to answer depending on how many you get, because they could require a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And this is an example of that. So this, you should always kind of graph them just to get an idea of what you're looking at. I know
Yeah.
you probably don't always get graph paper, which I find really odd, but 5 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 9, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this one, I have no idea what it is. Pretty sure it's not a right triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And equiangular is another name for equilateral.
Okay.
I don't think it's equilateral because this one is different than this one, so I know that. So now we're down to acute and obtuse. And notice, like, we're not doing any work. And that's kind of why I was asking, because like a lot of these you can do without doing much work. You can just
Yeah.
kind of shortcut it to get there. So an acute triangle looks like this, and an obtuse triangle looks something like this. That's drawn really poorly. The obtuse one is, oh, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Obtuse means that it has one angle greater than 90 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Acute means that all angles are less than 90. So just visually, I mean, without, you don't have to get a compass, a protractor out. What do you think here? Are these, does the one on the left here look more like the top one or the bottom one?
It looks like the one on the top.
Yes. So it is acute. It would be tough to answer that otherwise. Like maybe the correct way to do this is to find the distance between all these points, and then there's this formula you can use to compare the square of the two shorter sides to the square of the longer side. I don't think you need to do all that, and that's why I was asking. There's kind of a few shortcuts, but it doesn't sound like you need a super high grade. So I think the information I'm giving you will be good enough to that letter grade. All right, moving on to 41. If the measure of angle D is 42, that's this one right here. So we'll say 42 degrees. What is the measure of angle E? So there's measure of angle E. It's right there. There's this theorem, and I don't know if we've covered it, but this 123 equals the sum of the other two angles. So it's going to equal this 42 plus 2z plus 3. So this is key. If you didn't remember that, you could figure out that this angle right here is 57 degrees because these two have to add up to 180, and then you could
Mm-hmm.
add all three angles and they add up to 180 as well. This is the preferred way to do it. So we're solving this so this is 45. 123 equals 45 plus 2z. 80 I'm sorry, 78 equals 2z. So z equals 39. But that's not what it's asking for. And it's a good thing that answer isn't there. You have to put 39 back in. 2 times 39 plus 3 equals 81 degrees. Okay, I'm gonna go down to 42. When is your final? Is it early in the week, later in the week?
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday. All right. Let's get some time here. Um, okay, measure of angle ABC is an isosceles triangle. Okay, so the we don't know which is the which are the angles, and the picture really doesn't matter. The fact that this is 154 means that this is not the base angle, because it would have to be it would have to be there'd have to be two of them, and if you added those up together, that would be way too big. So this is the 154 up here. I know this isn't to scale, but these two down here are the unknown angles. So it's 154 plus x equals 180. So 2x equals 26 and x equals 13. That is the measure of angle R, I guess, because measure of angle R is congruent to angle C, and B is the one that's given. B would be equal to Q. So I guess I can see why this is confusing. That's B. Is that clear or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I really miss this. I actually went to Cartel in the last month, and it would be almost impossible for us to do these lessons there. We'd have to do them somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
They're very stringent on their seating. Hardly anyone in there too. Okay. 43. You probably don't miss the early lessons time. Okay. Which postulate can be used to prove that triangle A to B to D is congruent to C to B to D? So it might be helpful to break them apart. Um, just so you can A, B, D and C, B, D. So we're given that this side is congruent to this side, and this angle is, well, this one's also 90 degrees down here, because the two
Mhm.
angles have to be well, actually there should be more information there, but we assume that they are. So this side BD is congruent to itself. So we have a side, an angle, and a side. Clearly it's SAS. Not sure how they change that for you, other than they probably give you a different question uh, altogether. Okay, 44. In proving the congruence of two triangles, which postulate involves an included angle? So the answer is this one. The side, the angle, and the side, it always has to be the included one.
Mhm.
So I mean, this is like a definition. Make sure it's pointing up to that one. There's not really any explanation on that other than that. Like ASA would be an angle, a side, and an angle. So the side is between the two angles, but that's not what it's asking for here. All right, moving along here. Which of the following theorems can be used to prove triangle ABC is congruent to DEC? Okay, so we got a side and a side, an angle and an angle. The thing here that's if I just tell you, then there's no learning. But um, we've got so far we've got an angle and a side, so that means it's probably not SSS. Okay,
Mhm.
but it could actually be any of the other ones here. What else is congruent in this picture that isn't shown? And just try your best to describe it, because I don't know that it's super obvious how to just say it in words. But we've talked about it earlier. We talked about it on that parallel lines question from earlier.
Um,
So why are these angles congruent here? So it's vertical angles. Vertical angles is what allows those angles to be congruent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now we have an angle, a side, and an angle. So that's why it must be angle, side, angle. The order matters. It's not angle, skip that angle, get to that angle. This angle 90 going to this side means it's the side is next. You can't go angle, angle, and then backtrack to side. Hopefully that is something you've covered enough that is very clear by now.
Kind of.
Kind of. Okay. Well, you're only going to get like one, like whenever you see this review and you see two questions that kind of look like they're in the same general area, you're only going to get one of them. So you're probably going to get, you're probably only going to get one of those types. So we can always come back and look at those again if we need to. 46 though, PQR is an isosceles triangle with base QR. So I think it's good to draw it out. I'll call this Q and this R, and then here's P up here. P to Q to R is an isosceles triangle with base QR. If measure of angle P, that's this one right here, is 6x plus 40, and measure of angle Q is x minus 10, find x. Okay, so because it says that QR is the base, that means that these two sides are congruent. That's the isosceles. The base of an isosceles triangle is down here.
Mm-hmm.
Base, the sides the same, angle, and angle are the same. So in our picture, this angle is also x minus 10. And what do you know about the three angles in the triangle? They must add up to 180.
180.
Yeah. This is another good opportunity here. I'm gonna have you jump in here and solve this. And let's see what you get for an answer. You're just solving for x. You don't have to put the value back in.
X equals 20.
X equals 20. So that would give us 10, 10, and yep, that's it. X is 20. Good. Okay. We're on to 46, 47, 47. 47 doesn't have, I don't have the answers, but I can just tell you verbally what the answer is. So the line L, I didn't see it in the other picture either. Line L, it goes through this side over here, this triangle. It's perpendicular and it bisects the sides, which means they're both congruent. So hopefully that's an answer because I don't see any in that.
Yeah, it is. It's A.
Great. We're on to 48. RV is an angle bisector. There's RV. So if it bisects the angle, that means that the two angles are congruent. That means 2y plus 14 must equal 4y minus 6. So that goes back to the whole, like, you either set them equal or set them, or they add up to something. So if you're really stuck, you can always try that. So you end up solving and getting y equals 10. That's not the answer, but notice it's there. U to v to t is what they want. U to v to t is the whole thing. It's actually find both of these angles and then double it. So for example, 2 times 10 plus 14 equals 34. And if you double it, that's 68. So we can get that answer down there. Oh, these are a bunch of questions based on the figure. Okay. Okay, which line segment is the longest? There is something. There's a few. The largest, like the largest angle. Maybe this is new, but the largest angle helps to figure out the largest side. And then the reverse is true. Like if you know the largest side, you can figure out the largest angle. So 120 degrees here means that this side over here, this Q to R, is bigger than this 119 over there. So that's why QR is the longest. The shortest is across from the shortest angle. So that angle, 28, compared to 30, 28 is the shortest. That means that that's where their PQ is the shortest.
Okay.
Is that so and maybe I could say this, so the shortest angle, it points to the shortest side. Which of the following sets of numbers cannot be the lengths of the sides of a triangle? So there's this, like, let's consider the lengths A, B, and C. There's two things that have to be true. Let me try to remember here. A plus B has to be greater than C. So they go from shortest. They go from smallest to largest, I guess is what I was trying to say. And then the other thing is that the largest side minus the smallest side has to be bigger than the shortest side here. So this might be confusing, but like, let's look at a couple examples here. Like, let's look at B. 2 plus 3 is bigger than 4. That's good. And then 4 minus 3 is not bigger than 2. So that's a problem here. None of these can be sides. Why is this question? Why is this question here? There's something not right about this. So I'm going to defer to your instructor because they likely will tell you that there was a correction or something that I'm not seeing.
Okay.
If I had to answer, I believe it's A, but go ahead and check that with your instructor or check the answer key and we can talk about it.
Oh, which one? 51.
Yeah.
It should be A, yeah.
Yeah. So like the reason it's A is if we look at B, let's look at B. This is 2 plus 3 is greater than 4. Check. 4 minus 3 is greater than 2, check. 4 minus, I'm sorry, it's is less than, I guess it's less than that. So I wrote the wrong thing here. And then all the others follow. I find that kind of confusing. I apologize. Let's continue because there's obviously a lot more questions we can get through. I don't want to dwell on one question that may or may not appear on your test here. All right, for triangle ABC, AB equals 6 and BC equals 17. Which of the following is a possible length for AC? So we've already discussed that, like, let's just say this is the short and the medium. The these angles, these sides, like let's say it's 6 and 17. The third side here, if this 6 were to rotate more fully, like let's say the 6 was, and I usually diagram this with sticks, the longest that third side could be would be the adding of these up, the 23. Does that make sense? The third side can't be bigger than the sum of the first two. But then this other side, this 6, can really rotate the other way. So it could be that, like, and this is like, it could be that the 6 is there and the 17 is there, and you can see how that third side is getting shorter. Well, in the most extreme case, there's the 17, there's the 6, and this other side is like 17 minus 6. So if we subtract the numbers, 17 minus 6, that's 11. The third side has to be somewhere between those. That's why it must be
Okay.
all right. Number 53. 53 is totally different. It's just a totally different thing here. It requires you to know the formula. The sum of the interior angles, we haven't done a formula since the beginning questions, is the number of sides minus 2 times 180. So this is the number of sides, n equals 30 here.
Mm-hmm.
So 30 minus 2 times 180 is 28 times 180. Whatever that is, 5040. You have to know this formula. Like, there's no other way to do it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you could probably get it down to realizing it's A or B, because you'd realize that it's much bigger than a square, and I don't know where that number comes from. So like, that could help, but it's better to know the formula. 54. If the measure of each interior angle of a regular polygon is 108, find the measure of each exterior angle. So the relationship between the interior angle and the exterior angle is that they add up to 180. The interior plus the exterior has to equal 180. Triangle is the best example of this. So here's a triangle, that's 60 degrees. There's an exterior angle. What does this have to be? Well, it has to be 120. You already know
Mm-hmm.
that because it's a straight line. So the which of these adds to 108 to get to 180? You can see that the answer is 72.
Okay.
There's not much more to say for that. 56. 56 is a definition. Which statement ensures that quadrilateral is a parallelogram? So a quadrilateral means that it has four sides. So here's a quadrilateral, okay? That's a nice one, but it could also be that the sides look like that. That's not, I didn't want to undo that. That's also a quadrilateral.
Mhm.
Not so nice, right? Parallelogram means that it has two sets of parallel sides. Okay. One set of parallel sides is not enough. Do you know why that is? What is something with only one set of parallel sides? What kind of shape is that? I'll draw it here.
Can you scroll down a little bit? I can't see.
Oh, really? Trapezoid. You
Oh,
have the
thank you.
ability to scale this on whatever device you're on. I encourage you to do that. But so let's look at so angle Q being congruent to angle S. Is that enough? No. QR is congruent to TS. QR is parallel to TS. You know, I actually don't know the answer to this because there's quite a few things here. Do you have the answer key? I bet I'm willing to say that it's B, but
Yes, it is B.
it is B. So let's talk about why. If QR is congruent to TS and QR is parallel to TS, that means that these other angles are congruent. Well, that angle is congruent to that angle. Wow. Boy, if those are congruent, then you probably can show that the triangles are congruent. So that's congruent to that. They're congruent. There's a lot of things, I guess, that could come out of that. I wouldn't dwell on that too much. Um, 57 is also a definition. Why don't we skip that one because you can certainly look up what that is later on. 58 does not have the answers, but we can still solve it. Uh, so what do you think what do you think here?
You set them equal to each other.
Exactly. So we got 3x plus 20 equals 5x minus 12. So you end up getting 32 equals 2x and x equals 16. No big deal here. All right. 59. 59 is kind of an interesting question for you for this class. Okay. What is the value of x? The thing that this is trying to emphasize is that there's a relationship between these sides, and you're supposed to know that there's this sort of jump, like 16 to 20, and then 20 to something gets you there. The other way you could look at it is that the average of this 4x minus 4 and 16 the average of them has to equal the 20. So the average is you add them up, 4x minus 4 plus the 16 divided by 2, and that equals 20. Or you could realize this jump is a plus 4. So 24 has to equal the 4x minus 4. Either way, you'll get the same answer. Both of these lead to x equals 7. I know I'm skipping the algebra on that, but the setup there is knowing this this thing. So this is kind of one of those where you got to know a few things, but 60. Okay. What is the measure of angle T in kite here? So the kite has this property that this angle is congruent to this angle.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that if you know two of the angles, in fact, I shouldn't have drawn this line here. Let me see if I can actually remove it. Since you know this one, 85, well, I shouldn't have done that. 85 and 15, these are x. These have to add up to 360. Now, how do I know it's 360? That comes from that formula, n minus 2 times 180. The n in this case is 4 because it's a four-sided. So 4 minus 2 times 180 equals 360. So go ahead and solve that and see if you can come up with x, please.
Okay. X is 130.
X is 130. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, so I want to just make a comment here. The booking, however you did the scheduling tonight, I had it down at 6, and the reason is because you scheduled for 7 Central, and there's a time zone thing, and if your
Mm-hmm.
computer, if you're in that time zone, maybe that's why it worked out. But just if you're gonna schedule again this week, just be careful because it worked out because I didn't have anyone after you, but it could have been bad.
Okay.
That's it, though. I'll send you the notes here and then the screen recording here shortly. So let me know if I can help again, and I appreciate you scheduling.
Okay, thank you for helping me.
You're welcome. Bye now.
Bye.